let's get it. The Aces are going for their third straight title, but just lost their third straight game after falling to the Lynx last night at 5-5. It's Las Vegas's worst 10-game start to a season since 2018. Andrea, is this concerning?
It is concerning, but it is not time to panic. The Aces are playing without someone who is known as the point god. Her name is Chelsea Gray. She averaged 15 points, 7 assists last season. 2022 WNBA Finals MVP. She hits clutch shots. She finds her teammates. She is the floor general and the extension of Becky Hammon out there on the floor. A'ja Wilson is having an MVP-level season. They just got Tiffany Hayes. They've got to figure out the defensive pieces, but I imagine adding Chelsea Gray whenever she is ready will help sort some of these issues out for the Aces. So concerning, not time to panic.
I hear the name A'ja Wilson, I hear the name Becky Hammons, and I have zero concern. As far as I'm concerned, all it's going to do is agitate them a little bit more, and then they're going to get it together and then destroy the competition as the season progresses. It's A'ja Wilson we're talking about here. It's Becky Hammons. I'm not worried about them a little bit.
Yeah, we know. We got two top guys there. But Stephen A., you may have some concerns about her. Caitlin Clark didn't make the cut for the 12-player Team USA roster for the 2024 Paris Olympics. That is according to Selection Committee Chair Jen Rosati, who explained the decision came down to basketball criteria and not the fame and attention Clark would bring to the games this summer, saying, quote, "It would be irresponsible for us to talk about her in a way other than how she would impact the play of the team, because it wasn't the purview of our committee to decide how many people would watch or how many people would root for the U.S. It was our purview to create the best team we could." Okay, team's back here with us. Mad Dog, do you agree with USA Basketball's reasoning right there?
Yes, I do. Absolutely. I know Steve doesn't. I completely agree. The idea that somehow NBC was going to put women's or men's basketball during prime time in the Olympics because Caitlin Clark's on a team or anybody else is on a men's team is a bunch of nonsense. Yeah. They're going to give you women's gymnastics, they're going to give you swimming, and they're going to give you track and field. They're going to do that every night, 7 to midnight. For 17, because that's what the family watches at home, and that's where the ratings come in. So the idea that somehow Caitlin Clark was going to be on at 9 o'clock at night for 2 straight hours during the week is a bunch of nonsense. So the publicity angle to me is a little overrated. Their games and the men's games are on USA Cable. Now, I'm not trying to knock USA Cable, but you go try to find USA Cable at 1 o'clock in the afternoon during the week. Yeah. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, who are you taking off the team? They've won 5 gold medals. They're 70-3 in the last, whatever it might be, Olympics. Taurasi, you know, she's 42 years old. I get it. How do you take her off? Yeah. Bird was on the other team in '92. He was shot, but you had to put Larry Bird on the team. He's Larry Bird. You got to put Taurasi on this team. So if you're going to argue that Clark should be on it, I don't know enough about it. Andrea can help me.
No.
I don't know who you're taking off the team to put Clark on the team. Yep. So I have no problem whatsoever. And this idea, if I may yell, idea that somehow, some way, that NBC, that Tirico every night was going to be at 8 o'clock. Okay, it's time for women's basketball. Let's sit back for the next 2.5 hours to watch the women's team play because Caitlin Clark's on a team during prime time and Simon Bowl and the women's gymnastics is on. Yeah. There's not a chance in America that's going to happen. Yeah. The basketball and the boxing and the tennis is going to be on Bravo, USA Cable. That's not a ratings deal. No. So I have no problem with it whatsoever. None. Yeah. Zero.
Andrea?
Yeah, we've talked about the standard is gold for Team USA, and now is not the time to lack roster integrity. And when I say roster integrity, I mean looking at the criteria when it comes to the basketball court and who can contribute. People want to talk about, oh, if Caitlin's 10th on the roster and she sits the bench, it's still going to bring eyes to the game. No, it's not. People aren't going to tune in to watch Caitlin sit the bench, and they're certainly not going to tune in if she just so happens to be needed on the court and more minutes are required of her. I know she will do her best. I know she's talented, but she's not strong enough and she doesn't have enough experience right now to compete at this level. International basketball is incredibly physical. And if we're being honest, there are way bigger snubs when it comes to Team USA. Candace Parker in 2016, she led the 2012 Olympic team in rebounding, led the team in blocks, was having a phenomenal season, already had 2 gold medals on the time. She was left off that team. Nneka Ogwumike was the 2016 MVP
Yeah.
in the WNBA season, and she was left off the team. So if people want to get fired up about snubs, go back to 2016. This is not a basketball snub. Stephen A's main point has been it's a marketing snub, and Team USA is not worried about marketing. It's not their job to grow the WNBA. WNBA will continue to grow as TV contracts grow in the WNBA. Caitlin's presence in the W will continue to grow the W, and when she's ready for the Olympics, it'll explode then. And the WNBA is in a place where they can wait for that. They do not have to rush Caitlin being on the Olympic team.
Yep. Stephen A., I could actually argue that it hurts the game more if they had given her a roster spot over someone more deserving.
So go ahead and argue it.
That's exactly what I'm
Are
saying.
you-
Because
go
I
ahead,
think
you-
it makes a mockery
Okay.
of the women's game. If the focus on, okay,
Cool.
now we just have to have people because of marketing and their attention, and they're not as talented, and we're not putting the best team out there.
To our sensational producer, Brandy, could you, director Brandy, rather, could you put and keep everybody up on the screen when I have this, when I say what I'm about to say? I don't care because no one is debating that from a basketball standpoint, Team USA has the right to make the decision that it made based on merit, and that not a single player is less worthy than Caitlin Clark to be on this team. That's not the argument. What has annoyed me to no end with all of these damn trolls misrepresenting and misquoting folks all the damn time. What I am saying is, for years, I've had individuals associated with women's basketball talking about what they've done, the work that they've put in, and how they wished that they had had an elevated level of cachet, notoriety, pub, whatever words you want to use. They want this. I understand the quote from Rosati. She's not wrong, Andrea and Molly. I understand. And by the way, let me tell y'all all, numerous Hall of Famers have called me over the last few days. Not a single one of them agreed with me. They all agree with y'all. But in the same breath that not a single one of them agreed with me, they all agree with y'all. Every one of them, including the guided statement that I just made, okay, while agreeing with y'all, because he was one of the people who's arguing with me about it too, no one has refuted my point, which is that women's basketball across the globe, not just the WNBA, have been clamoring for more sizzle, more shine, et cetera, so they can build their cachet and get more money. I said, I'm not talking about my preference. I'm talking about what you said your preference was. And because you said that was your preference, this was a way to capitalize off of it. Last point. Doggy, Andrea, let me throw this stat by you because I had it looked up. The WNBA, and I know we're talking Team USA, but the WNBA, do you know that in its 20-year history, how many individuals in the sports history, 28-year history, has had on-court earnings over $1 million? Do you know what that number is? It hit 9 this year. In 28 years, only 9 players have had on-court earnings eclipsing $1 million. And I'm looking at a girl like Brittany Griner, who, God bless her, all that she went through with Russia and everything like that. Why was she in Russia in the first place? Because the WNBA can't pay but so much, and they use basketball, Andrea knows this, throughout the world as basically part-time employment to supplement the income. So all I'm saying is, if you have a cash cow that can ultimately elevate it for everybody, ride the wave while it's there. Everybody disagrees with me
Okay,
because they're
excuse me one
saying
second.
They're
the Hall of Fame
doing
is
that
saying,
in
well,
the
no.
W, Stephen
Stephen A., let me ask you one question. One question.
Yes, yes.
Do you truly, I understand the whole marketing point, right? And you're a marketing genius yourself, and I understand how you're looking at it through the business side of it as well. I totally get your point, even though I disagree, so I just want to say that. But do you truly believe eyeballs are going to tune in? People are going to be clamoring, let me get my popcorn ready to see Caitlin Clark ride the bench.
No.
No.
But
The answer is no.
Hold up. But time out. But first of all, it's 2 points to that. Number one, we don't know if she's going to ride the bench. That's number one.
Well, Stephen A,
number
they're going to
two,
put out. They're going
and hold on, Molly, you can't ask me a question.
Okay,
Molly,
but
I'm answering your question.
Stephen A, I'm telling
Okay,
you know she's not going to be one of the starting five. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know that she's not going to be one of the starting five, but I'm telling you, you have people. This world is crazy. You might have an abundance of people that's clamoring to see if she's going to play. It's crazy out here. It's crazy. You can't, Andrea, you can't definitively say that people are not going to watch in hopes that they'll see her. Not in today's generation.
Do you see
you
where
can't say
that
that
undermines the integrity of the game? Because then people are watching to see whether or not she wants to play than seeing the most talented women out there in the best team compete. And break a record for, I think,
can I throw this by you? Can I throw this by you, Molly?
Yeah.
Molly, I look on TV. I'll say this last point. I look on TV all the time, Molly. I look on TV all the time, Andrea.
Yeah.
I don't see people. I don't see people that can analyze basketball like you. Molly, I don't see people that can host like you. Whatever industry you pick, doggy, they ain't historians like you, that can do what you do. We see people who haven't pounded the pavement, who haven't earned their stripes, who haven't put forth their due diligence, spanning years and years and years, be in certain positions because stuff has been handed to them. We've lamented this across the stratosphere, no matter what industry this is in this day and age. The late John Chaney, God rest his soul, former coach at Temple basketball, called it the microwave society. People now, here it is, 30 seconds. Forget cooking, forget baking or whatever. Microwave the damn thing and get it done in 60 seconds. Everybody wants their shine now. And we see folks getting it, and it's not based on merit. In this profession
that's the problem
and
with
beyond,
our society,
it happens all the time.
The problem with our
I
society,
agree.
and it's
I
like,
agree.
are we gonna keep feeding it?
But Stephen A,
But that's not fair.
I
That's
understand
not fair. I'm
what you're
saying it happens. I'm saying it happens.
It happens.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it happens.
But Mad Dog mentioned 5 gold medals. They're going for their 8th straight gold medal. Now is not the time for microwave success. Now is the time to stick to what you know and what you've always done, which means putting the best team together. Now is not the time for that. And she would only have 7 practices with this team, Stephen A. She doesn't know any players on that team. She doesn't know the coach.
I don't want to talk. When you
I know
bring
you
up
don't want to talk basketball.
because
You just said
it's not that I don't want to talk about it. It's not that I don't want to talk about it. I'm simply saying no one's refuting that.
No,
You're
but I'm
absolutely
saying
right.
What's worse for marketing, Stephen A, than, God forbid, more minutes are required of her out there on the court, and she's not meshing with the players because she has a very unique style that's difficult to mesh with without a significant amount of time. What's worse for marketing than her being thrown out there when she's not strong enough for it because physically she hasn't even had a professional offseason yet? And you can compare other rookies, and that's fine, but they played for Team USA. Caitlin did not play, and Caitlin didn't camp.
I'm not refuting.
From a marketing perspective, that would be a bad look. No, because I'm addressing marketing.
But see, you say basketball, and then you say marketing. What you're not addressing is the people who play the sport and are involved in the sport who have been complaining about the lack of marketing. I'm talking about their complaints, not mine. I'm talking about theirs.
They're complaining.
They're saying it.
I understand that, but we're not.
Stephen A,
they're not.
Long game.
The WNBA is in a place that's already growing, Stephen A. 2 teams just bought into the league and paid millions of dollars to be a part of the league.
Remember you said that.
Remember
you said that.
Stephen
Remember you said that. I agree it's growing.
This is going to make you laugh, though. Can we, Brandy, sorry to do this to you. I know this is a Stephen A move, but put Stephen A on camera. You know how you mentioned the microwave, the whole deal? You're talking to a woman that if you heat up food, it's in the oven. It's old school. And you know what I mean by that. So we're just not seeing eye to eye on it. And I almost feel like it's the same argument.
Am I not old school?
No, I'm just saying it's the same argument.
Am I not old school?
Wait, let me finish. As like the Kawhi Leonard argument. And I'm not trying to take a huge left turn here, but how you feel about, now Kawhi as far as being injured, but as far as like marketing the sport, where I feel like, hey, if you go out there and you win, that is marketing the sport.
8th straight gold. Like 8th straight gold is as great of marketing for why women's basketball in the United States is the best. It's the best because that's what they're chasing. And every country is coming after us. And the competition's gotten better and better, Stephen A. That's all I'm saying.
The only thing, I'm not questioning any of that. I'm saying if I wish that I could show you the text or have you on a call with me over the last several years with these ladies talking about how much they need in terms of marketing so they can get more shine and more money, more opportunities. That's what they said. I'm going by what they said. They want. Not me.
I wish you were there with these young girls in the WNBA when they were putting in work on the court, sacrificing and doing all of that to have this time and have their moment, and that are deserving and that have earned it.
Men, women, children, elderly, everybody's gotten screwed over in life. Everybody.
Facts.
Nobody's immune to getting screwed over.
Stephen A., the reason why people talk to you about this and with the W is the same thing Monica mentioned. It's because in 2016, when Candace Parker got snubbed and Nneka Ogwumike got snubbed, if you were just as fired up about those basketball-specific snubs, if you wanted to have that on your show and talk about why they should have been on the team, you alone would have grown the game. That's what the WNBA is talking about. They're not saying
I
they
disagree
need to,
with that.
then you're just
We did
you're,
mention
you're
it. We mentioned it on the show. We talked about it.
But I'm saying, like, that type of fired up energy about that basketball snub. The WNBA wants to grow, but it still wants to focus on basketball.
All right, Stephen
That's what I'm saying.
Let's let Mad Dog be the voice of reason and get the final word here. Because I love you, Stephen A., but I get a little hot having this conversation with you.
I think Stephen A.
I don't know why.
Because I don't see it the way you see it. And
So what? What's to get hot? Why get upset about it? You don't agree?
I'm not getting upset about it, but it's like I can see it from your perspective. You know, I can see it from your lens, even though I have mine, but you can't see it from our lens. And I think that's where I feel like the disconnect is.
I do see it. I'm just talking about what's been said to me.
I thought that Stephen A. would bring out the basketball stat that's a good stat. What is it?
Now you're going to help him?
4 out of 5 of #1 picks have made the team in the last 5 or 6 years.
They all played for Team USA the year before, though, Mad Dog.
Oh, they did?
They played.
They all played for USA? So, Andrea. You are good. You are
At the I, cross the T, girl.
Oh, she blew away, Stevie.
Back-to-back national championship. Those #1 picks, back-to-back national champions.
They all played on the USA? Okay.
They didn't have a very high usage. They had
my PIC right here. I got my bodyguard with me.
Molly, I will remind you what I said earlier.
Tell me.
Hall of Famers, including in my mind the greatest ever, all agree with y'all. All agree with y'all. Every single one of them say exactly what y'all said. And then I reminded them of what I said. And they were like, I get it. I understand exactly where you're coming from. I'm saying that's where we are. I'm not disagreeing with y'all. I'm just saying this is what it is. This is what they've been saying they want. And nobody's bringing up that they said that's what they wanted. You acting like I'm saying it. They said it.
They didn't say they want it in terms of sacrificing goals.